the world is preparing for a war that may have already begun. Since the Ukraine war, rivalries have become clearer and opposing nations louder. South Korea is one nation that must take this fact most seriously, as the country is surrounded by its most powerful enemies, particularly China and North Korea. The United States, with a similar list of rivals, is now working with South Korea to fortify the military of the Asian country. One of the most significant of these fortifications is a warship or destroyer born of an idea from the U.S. Navy almost 3 decades ago. Armed with record-breaking numbers of ammunition, this destroyer is today known as an arsenal ship, the South Korean arsenal ship. The South Korean arsenal ship, locally known as the Joint Firepower Ship, will be the sea-based portion of South Korea's kill chain of sensors, spies, special forces, and shooters designed to devastate North Korea's government and nuclear weapons if preparations to use the latter were detected. The land and air-based components of the chain include the Hyunmo-2A short-range ballistic missile and the Hyunmoo-3 cruise missile of the country's army, and the Taurus anti-ship cruise missile of the Air Force. Together, these military assets form a triad of air, land, and sea precision-guided weapons ready to deliver devastation to any rival wherever they would hate it most. Our focus in this video, the arsenal ship, is the latest of this triad and is still in its development phase. The plans for the ship first emerged in August 2019, and 4 years later, in April 2023, the South Korean Navy announced local shipbuilder DSME as the contractor to deliver the ship's concept design by the end of the year. If the project's feasibility is determined in the design stage, construction will proceed. The Navy plans to build 3 of these ships, each of them carrying at least 80 missiles. That's more than enough to make very explosive statements against rival nations. And to be as lethal as possible, these boats wouldn't carry only random already existing missiles. Instead, they would wield a cocktail of those missiles combined with a fleet of brand new ship-to-surface ballistic missiles being developed for them and the Navy's latest Aegis destroyer, the KDDX. The Defense Acquisition Program Administration, or DAPA for short, which is South Korea's agency in charge of improving the defense capabilities of the nation, announced plans to invest about $467 million between the years 2024 and 2036 into the development of this new missile. The need for the arsenal ship, the new missile, and related missiles has been emphasized in the war in Ukraine, which continues to prove that modern warfare would require a staggering amount of conventional weapons available promptly. This was the same need the U.S. was trying to cater to in the 1990s when the idea of an arsenal ship was born. A remote magazine on the seas that would dramatically boost a Navy fleet's firepower to overcome that of rivals was enticing and welcome, at least initially. Funding problems would sweep in to make it less feasible and eventually lead to its cancellation. However, the concept has risen once again, this time in South Korea, but still likely to involve the U.S., which would be significant. Significant not only because the U.S. has innovated and attempted an arsenal ship in the past, but also because the country has experience in operating large ships with heavy armament. The U.S. currently operates the largest, most revolutionary, most alien-looking, and most expensive destroyers in the world, known as the Zumwalt-class destroyers. USS Zumwalt, USS Michael Mansour, and USS Lyndon B. Johnson are the 3 students of the U.S. Navy Zumwalt class of guided missile destroyers. They are designed as multi-mission stealth ships capable of naval gunfire support, surface warfare, anti-aircraft warfare, and striking fear into the hearts of rivals. At $7.5 billion per ship, the ships of the Zumwalt class are more expensive than every non-American ship, submarine, and aircraft carrier around the world. And developing these ships was so major that almost every major defense contractor across the U.S. was involved in building them, from Lockheed Martin to Raytheon to Northrop Grumman to General Dynamics and so on. As a result, the Zumwalt-class ships feature the best of everything the U.S. has to offer, which is a lot. And here are some of them. Stealthy design. The Zumwalt-class destroyer reintroduces the tumble-home hull form, a hull form not seen to this extent since the Russo-Japanese War over a century ago. The inverted bow in the form cuts through waves rather than rides over them. Its smooth, angular, streamlined design, coupled with a composite deckhouse that encloses many of the sensors and electronics, helps to significantly reduce the radar return of the ship. Water sleeting along the sides and passive cool air induction in the MAC further reduces the infrared signature to make the ship ultra-stealthy. In fact, despite being 40% larger than an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, the radar cross-section of the Zumwalt-class ships is more akin to that of a fishing boat, and they're 50 times harder to spot on radar than an ordinary destroyer. Zumwalt-class ships are so stealthy that the Navy had to make them easier to spot by adding onboard reflectors. When in use, the reflectors would make ships more visible to friendlies during times when visibility is required, such as when the ships are traversing busy shipping channels or operating in weather that's harder to navigate through. This unrivaled stealth capability allows the Zumwalt class to operate closer to shorelines and in contested areas without being easily detected, providing a significant advantage against the opposition. Propulsion and power system. The propulsion and power system on Zumwalt-class ships provides much more electrical power for use than the systems of every other ship in the U.S. Navy fleet. The ships are powered by two Rolls-Royce MT-30 gas turbines and two Rolls-Royce RR4500 turbine generators that provide a total power output of 105,000 shaft horsepower. Such a propulsion system enables the Zumwalt class to achieve Olympic gold speeds up to 30 knots, which is quite impressive for 15,000-ton ships. The ship's turbo generators not only provide power to drive motors, but also to all systems across the entire ship. These include automation systems that allow for a minimal crew size of 150 people, regular operational systems that keep things running smoothly, and an endless list of sensors, radars, and sonars that provide superior situational awareness, along with the ability to detect or engage threats from miles away. Armament. In terms of firepower, the Zumwalt class is a versatile one. Every ship of the class is equipped with a variety of advanced weapon systems. The first is the Advanced Gun System, which consists of two 155mm guns capable of firing precision-guided projectiles at long distance. These guns can engage both land-based targets and enemy ships with remarkable accuracy. Next, there are the two 30mm Mk46 Mod 2 gun weapon systems, which are highly flexible to fire whatever rounds are available. Each Zumwalt-class ship also features 80 Mk57 peripheral vertical launching system cells, which are larger than the Mk41 cells found on most American destroyers. These cells can accommodate a moderate array of standard and specialized anti-aircraft, anti-ship, and land attack missiles, including the Tomahawk, the Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, and the vertical launch anti-submarine missile. The closest thing to a perfect destroyer, the Zumwalt class is a testament to the U.S. Navy's commitment to innovation and ensuring American dominance in the world's oceans. But even dominance isn't enough for the Zumwalt class ships, it seems. They're already fitting to be even more lethal by becoming the first ships ever to wield both laser weapons and hypersonic missiles. Laser weapons and hypersonic missiles are currently two of the most formidable weapons today. They're simply not interceptable, and they're autonomous enough to get the job done with a high success rate. To exploit the capabilities of these invincible weapons, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Gilday has announced the Navy's plans to purchase 8 hypersonic conventional prompt strike missiles, or CPS missiles, that will be fielded onboard Zumwalt-class destroyers and Virginia-class submarines. The fiscal 2024 budget would call for $341 million to buy the hypersonic rounds and another $901.1 million for research and development. Ultimately, the service wants to spend $3.6 billion over the next 5 years to purchase 64 of the missiles. Lockheed Martin has already received a $2 billion contract from the Navy to deliver the missiles. Admiral Gilday also wants to install lasers on the Zumwalt-class destroyers. The Navy has deployed several laser weapons at sea, including the AN/SEQ-3 laser on the USS Ponce in 2014, the new Mk2 Mod 0 Laser Weapon System Demonstrator (LWSD) on the amphibious landing dock USS Portland, the high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance (Helios), and the optical dazzling interdictor Navy Odin. The successes with these laser weapons are proof that the Navy is closer than ever to fielding operational laser weapons. The Zumwalt class would likely be one of the first vessels to wield them. The Zumwalt class destroyers from the US and an arsenal ship from South Korea. These would be two of the most decisive vessels in any war involving their home nations. Slated to be armed with enough ammunition to level entire cities, the only thing that could make these vessels more lethal is you subscribing to this channel and giving this video a like. So do that now, and thanks for watching.